Okay, so we were answering the question, how effective is vitamin C? And I was saying that it's one of the three basics, the 101s that you have to do. And that is vitamin C, vitamin D with K2, and zinc. And then someone responded and asked, what kind of vitamin C? And that's really a good question, because the types of vitamin, there are many types of vitamin C out there, and which ones have the sharpest Pac-Man teeth going after, protecting you from bugs and bacteria and viruses and things, which ones do? Ascorbic acid is the preservative of the vitamin C complex. It's an important component, but it's not the whole vitamin C complex. You want to include bioflavonoids and hesperidin in your vitamin C products. That's why the product that we have the link for you here. And Tiffany, are you able to post links now that I'm live on my phone instead of on the computer? Marzi says yes, great. So Tiffany will post the link of the announcement we sent out a few days ago about those three basic products, the zinc, vitamin D with K2, and the vitamin C with bioflavonoids, and why those types of vitamin C and D and zinc are so effective to help support your immune system now that we really want a strong functioning immune system. So those are the basics. Those are the ones that 101, you just have to include those in any protective protocol and then any aggressive protocol. I made some notes here because nobody has talked about this, and I just thought of it before we started, so I just gave Michelle and Pooja the heads up, we're going to do this, and that is, what do you do if someone in your family gets sick? At that point, what do you do? I mean, we're all talking about preventing getting sick, which is really important, but what if somebody gets sick? So Michelle, I'm gonna let you start with that, and as you're talking, Marzi will tell me if she can hear you on her Facebook, so that we'll make sure that my computer's picking up what you're saying. And so let's just get started and see how it goes. So Michelle, what are your thoughts? What do you do if someone in the family is sick?
Well, I think it's so critically important to try to protect the rest of the family, right? So if you can quarantine that person as best as you can, and I know what we always try to do is have that person use paper towels, right? And try to clean any faucets that they touch. And we have a great cleaning, it's a disinfectant that's supposed to clean 99.9% of MRSA and everything, and it's great to just spray everything down with. And obviously you want to support that person and not tape plastic over the room and seal them off, but bring them tea. But they need to, I just remember, cough or sneeze, elbows please, right? They need to make sure that they're not spreading this around. And I think we need to not be fearful of fevers unless they get so high that they're dangerous, but the fever is helping to kill the virus. So a lot of people I'm seeing that are getting that their fever is around 100. So I don't think that we need to do drastic measures when the fever is around 100. Let it burn the virus out of the body at that point. And that's my personal opinion with it. And I'm seeing reports from somebody from San Diego State University who studied a lot of coronavirus is saying, suck on zinc lozenges, that can be helpful for soothing the throat. Getting lots of sleep. I think sleep is so important for preventing this right now, keeping the immune system healthy, and rest. Those are some things that are coming to mind right now.
Yeah, good, thank you.
I'm sure there's lots more.
Yeah, but those are important. Pooja, your thoughts on if someone in the home is sick?
Yeah, just to echo what Michelle said, I think those foundational pieces are so important. And then I would also say that the rest of the family should also be on the same supplement protocol as the individual that is now sick, so they can better arm themselves.
Right. right? Good point. So, and my thoughts are, if I'm sick, if I get sick, what am I going to do? And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take vitamin D, 50,000 units at a time, 50,000 units once a day for a week, every single day. I'm going to blast, and let me explain why vitamin D. And this is why it's part of the bundle to help protect you. But if you get sick, you want to bring in the big guns. They found 4 people who had died in the 1918 Spanish flu epidemic and were buried in the Arctic tundra of an army base. They found them in the tundra, and they dug them up and they did autopsies to find out how did they die. And that's when scientists really learned about what's called a cytokine storm, meaning your immune system in the lungs over-responds to the perceived threat. What does that mean? If you think of the part of your immune system called macrophages, macrophages fire high-powered chemical bullets called cytokines to kill whatever you breathed in. They're in your lungs, and they're in other places, but they're in your lungs here. And they fire their high-powered rifle and the bullet, called a cytokine, to attack the bacteria, attack the virus, whatever the lungs, your immune system says there's danger in the lungs. What happened in 1918, the Spanish flu, is that the trigger on this high-powered rifle got stuck in the on position. The spring didn't work for the trigger to pop back. And so the high-powered rifle became a submachine gun. Pop, 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 pop. And that's what caused the quick development of pneumonia, was the inflammation that occurred around the overactivity of the macrophages trying to protect you. And that's why so many young people with strong immune systems had, they went to work in the morning, they never came home. That happened to a lot of people during the 1918 flu. The spring on the trigger of your macrophages is completely controlled by vitamin D. And there's a number of articles on that. I read that when this whole story about they found 4 people in the Arctic tundra, this was about 7 years ago that they brought that one up. So if my immune system is overreacting, I want to make sure you try to calm it down the best you can. And Michelle is absolutely right that a fever of 100, 101, and personally, I'd say up to about 101.5, I'm not going to take any action on it. I'm going to let my body kill off as best it can whatever it's trying to kill off. Now, if I start getting mucus, I'll talk in a minute about some of the things that I'm personally going to do. But the first thing is, let the fever, let your immune system try and work through what you're being exposed to, up to about 101.5. After that, you want to calm it down a little bit, if you can. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Pooja and Michelle, you might make a couple of notes of how are we going to calm down a fever, but I want to continue with what am I going to do if I get sick? So that's the first thing. I'm going to take 50,000 units of vitamin D once a week. Once a day for a week. Yeah, Michelle.
And that's going to be straight vitamin D without the K2.
That is correct. That is correct. That's straight vitamin D because the dosing is so high. And we'll put the link here for the vitamin D product that I currently use. I take 50,000 units once a week myself now for my vitamin D dosing because I just don't do it every day. I should, but I don't, right? So I take 50,000 once a week, but I'm going to do it every day. I'm just going to blast it in. There's no danger to it whatsoever, absolutely none. And many world-renowned vitamin D specialists have talked about that in the past. You can learn a lot more about vitamin D in general by going to vitamindcouncil.org. That is the website of the Vitamin D Council. These are scientists that have been publishing papers about this for years and dosing vitamin D. But that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 50,000 units a day for a week. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kick up my vitamin C levels to what I lovingly refer to as Linus Pauling levels. Now, Linus Pauling was Jeff Bland's mentor, Dr. Jeff Bland, the founder of functional medicine. Linus Pauling is the only man ever to win the Nobel Prize twice. Twice. He won it in chemistry and he won the Nobel Peace Prize. And I've got this great video of him. I didn't think of it to have it available to show here today, but I've got this great video. He's like 84 years old. He's got this cute little black beret on, you know, like the Green Berets, but a black one, the little French-looking thing. 84-year-old guy. He's being interviewed, and he says, yes, my wife and I take 18,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, and when I get old, I'll take more. And he says, straight facing as can be. He's like 84 years old. He says, when I get old, I'll take more. But he and his wife took 18,000 milligrams a day. So how do you titrate up your vitamin C levels? And the way you do that is you take some every half hour or every hour throughout the day. The product we use is called Vitality C. Tiffany's going to put the link here for it, and I travel with it. Honey, can you grab me a Vitality C, Marzi? And I travel everywhere with this because I take anywhere from 8,000, usually about 8,000 milligrams a day, especially when I'm traveling. And you know, it's a little scoop. A scoop is 4,000. I put in water and I just use my spoon. Thank you. This is the Vitality C. It's a powder. And there's a scoop in there. I just take a scoop, I throw it, I use my finger to, you know, because I'm in a hotel room, there's no silverware, or a toothbrush. Oops, I get excited here. You gotta be careful. And then I use a toothbrush, you know, and or my finger, and I just down it. But if you take too much vitamin C, you get diarrhea, you get loose bowels. So how do you do this? You titrate up. So if you're using the vitamin C with bioflavonoids, I take one every half hour and count how many you take during the day. If you're doing the Vitality C, it's a little higher dosing, I do a scoop every hour. Just with some water, get down, you know, so you're getting your water in, and you keep track of how much you're taking. When you get a little gurgling and a little bit of loose bowels or diarrhea, it's not explosive, but just a little bit of loose bowels, you stop, you're done. Okay, I took 12 doses today. The next day, you take 75% of that dosage. So if it was 12, now you take 9. Then, you know, like every hour and a half on next day, but you stop at 9. And you stay at that dosage until you get loose bowels. And then you 75% again. I'm sorry, you cut down by 25%. You take 75% of the 9 servings a day. So you take 5 or 6, somewhere around there. And then you find the dosage where you don't get loose bowels. That's the amount your body needs, whatever that amount is. And there's no easier way to do that. I don't know an easier way to do it, but that's the Pauling protocol to titrate up on vitamin C. The next thing I'm the next is I'm going to do an enema. I'm going to do an enema to help get rid of toxins in my body, to take a load off my system. So yeah, you feel sick, you don't want to do an enema. I know, do it anyway. Why? Because it might help you. It's going to help your body relax a little bit more, get rid of some of the toxins that might be in your gut. The next thing I'm going to do is a castor oil pack on my abdomen. Michelle and I have talked about this many times in the past, about castor oil packs, and you put it on the abdomen because it helps the immune system in your gut. Remember, 70 to 80% of the immune system's in your gut, and it feels soothing and comforting. We've knocked out fevers in kids dramatically by using castor oil packs. It's one of our go-tos, has been for over 30 years. The next thing I'm going to do is get the mucus out. If you're feeling congested in your lungs, you need to get the mucus out of there. So avoid mucus-forming foods. And Michelle, what are the mucus-forming foods that we want to avoid?
Dairy, any form of animal dairy, is off the list.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Avoid those right now. Just through this whole season, just animal dairy out. It's just not worth it.
Right. Because if you've got mucus, if you're like that, or you've got lung congestion, you're a walking human petri dish. And bacteria and viruses love petri dishes. They thrive in that because the mucus is nutrient rich. There's no immune cells in the mucus. So bacteria and viruses can just thrive in there. You got to get the mucus out of there. So stop eating mucus-forming foods. And the first one on the list is dairy. Anything that comes from a cow's udder. Anything. Butter, even butter, if you have a sensitivity to dairy because of the casein in the butter. Ghee is usually safe to use as a substitute.
Well, and butter is made from pasteurized, homogenized cow dairy.
Right.
And it's made from dairy that was, the dairy was, the it's not good. And sugar. Sugar is just out right now. It's so damaging to the immune system. Let's just cross both of those off the list.
Right. Agreed. And Pooja, anything you have to add, please just jump in a moment's notice, right, for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to add one more thing, which may be obvious, but gluten. We want to avoid wheat.
High five to Pooja. Absolutely. I wasn't going to let that one slide, but thanks, Pooja. You're absolutely right. Why? Because it causes mucus. You get more congested. How do you feel after you eat a bowl of pasta? Well, you feel bloated and full, yeah, but you also get mucusy. You get kind of congested. These are the things you want to avoid. So and any foods that you might be sensitive to, besides dairy and gluten and wheat and sugars, if there are other foods that you're sensitive to anything that's mucusy, stay away from anything that's going to cause mucus. Critically important. And then, what am I going to do if I get sick? I'm going to go back to my fallback that I've used for 30 years, and that's called Wobenzyme. Wobenzym. And there's a number of different Wobenzymes, and I'm going to use Wobenzyme N. N as in Nancy, because it's the original. And it's got 6 different ingredients in it: trypsin, chymotrypsin, bromelain. And these guys are the Pac-Man that go everywhere in your body to get mucus out of there. And I'm going to do 10 of those every couple of hours. They're little round tablets and away from food. So I'm going to do a lot of Wobenzyme, and I'm going to do a lot of vitamin C and a lot of vitamin D if I need to. Now, the goal is that you don't need to. You don't get to that point where you need to. And how do you do that? You do the trilogy that we've posted here, the links here for you, which is vitamin C with bioflavonoids, vitamin D with vitamin K2, and zinc. And drink a lot of water, avoid mucus-forming foods, and if you do that for you and your family, your odds are much better of not letting this virus thing take hold. Look, most of us are going to get a virus. Most of us will. That's just how viruses work. The key is it doesn't get to repopulate and take over and overpower your immune system. That's what's most important, is keep your immune system strong. So don't do the things that you know you're not supposed to do. Now, some of the things, everybody knows you're not supposed to be eating ding-dongs and ho-ho. I forgot. I'm sorry, Australia. I'm so sorry. I did that once before. It's a cute story. I was on stage in Australia a few years ago, and I made a joke. You just don't want to eat ding-dongs and ho-hos. And the whole audience started roaring with laughter. They couldn't stop. And I thought, well, it was funny, but it's not that funny. I don't know. And I found out at the break that it's a slang term for a penis. So I'm so sorry. I did to Australians an apology. I came back after the break and I said, I just found out what that means. I'm so sorry. And they started laughing again. So, but don't eat garbage. Just don't do it right now. Take care of yourselves. That was pretty funny. Actually, there's a message here from Margie. She says, hi, Dr. Tom. It's Margie from Australia. I have the flu and been very susceptible to the virus in the last 2 weeks. So I'm testing for coronavirus today, hopefully if I can get in. I'm in lockdown, but continuing my fight with the help of Dorinda Smith, my coach from California. Dorinda's great. We'll keep you all informed on my results. Love and light from Aussie, Margie. Margie, we're all rooting for you. And there you go. Michelle, let's talk about, Michelle is holding up a bottle. Honey, can you grab me a bottle of Olive Rex, please? Because Michelle is not on screen. But she's going. Michelle, would you talk about that, and I'll get the bottle.
Yes. So I have been taking Olivirex preventively. I just feel like it's such an important antiviral, and I have been recommending it to family and friends. And I personally take it with food because if you take a really high dose, it can make some people feel a little nauseous if they take it on an empty stomach. Typically just one of it at a time won't do that, but just taking one with a meal 3 times a day is really great to round in as prevention. And also the Biocide throat spray, I think is really great. I have it in my purse at all times. I spray 4 sprays in the back of my throat before I go into the grocery store, or if I have to be out and about. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to do the grocery store, but I just use it to, it's within 30 minutes of spraying the Biocide throat spray, it increases secretory IgA by 66%.
Yeah, let's just talk about what that means, because most people don't know what secretory IgA is. So can you explain what that is?
Yes, so it's immune modulating. So they did a study that's published in PubMed on athletes because they know that after intense exercise, athletes' immune system is compromised. And so they studied with spraying the Biocide throat spray in the back of their throat. And secretory IgA is a measurement of immune system, and it increased by 66%, which is really powerful. So that is 40% Biocide and 60% potato or sugarcane alcohol, so that we're able to spray it. But all biocidins are the same, have the same immune modulating effect. So any biocidin that you have on hand will also support.
Hold on there. This is the Biocide spray that Michelle is talking about. And every time I get on a plane, and I fly a lot, I always have this with me in my carry-on, always. And what I do, just like Michelle said, in the back of the throat, I don't squirt it on my tongue. I open my mouth and put it way in the back, like that. And then, because I'm a little bit of a nutcase, I do it up my nose, like that. And, it's, my nose will run a little bit after that, but I'm just protecting myself because the guy behind me may have just come from Mozambique and he coughs and now there's measles droplets in the air or coronavirus droplets in the air and you breathe it in. So you want the protection. So Biocide spray has been my go-to anytime I travel. And it's a great idea now for everyone to have this in your purse. Tiffany will post the link here. Have it in your purse, guys. Have it in the glove box of the car. Anytime you have to go shopping, you're going out for gas, you just spray some in your mouth in case the guy who's behind the counter, taking your credit card, he coughs or something, and then you're breathing in some droplets in the air. Okay, Michelle, you want to continue or?
Yeah, those are just 2 that I have on hand right now that I'm just taking on a regular basis for prevention.
Yep.
I have the vitamin C, I have the zinc, I have the vitamin D. So that's kind of my little arsenal right now.
Great, thank you. And Pooja, do you want to add to that?
That is my list too.
Okay, and mine.
Yep.
Right, and mine. I've got nothing else to add to that. Mia Jones says North Wales is here. Hi, Mia. Great to see you're here. Genevieve is here. Hi from Canada. Jenny Martin asks, how much D and K2 do you give to kids 2 to 9 years old? It's 1,000 IUs of vitamin D per 25 pounds body weight. 1,000 IUs per 25 pounds body weight. So easy that way. If you're 100 pounds, that's 4,000 units. And just work from there. Monica Buffalini's in the house. Monica, hi. It's nice to see you're there. Thank you so much. And Pam says, does body's iron absorption increase with increased doses of vitamin C? Well, it's a really good question, Pam. Vitamin C enhances the absorption of iron. So if you're getting the standard amount of iron, whatever that is in your diet, and you take a little extra vitamin C, it's likely that you'll probably absorb a little bit more of your iron. Michelle, anything you want to add to that question?
Yeah, I think that there is some research that supports that. I think it's important to make sure that you need iron to make sure that there's not a lot of GI infections before you're dosing with iron. So it's a bigger conversation there.
Yeah. Lee says you are being paused every few words. I'm sorry, Lee. I don't know what to do about that right now. I'm sorry, man. I wish, or I don't know if Lee is a guy or a woman. I'm sorry that that's happening. We're just going to get through this as best we can for you guys. Gabriella says, what about grass-fed goat colostrum for preventing getting sick? Well, that's a really good question. Colostrum is Mother Nature's way of strengthening the immune system, and grass-fed goat colostrum is going to be easier to digest. Cow's milk is 8 times the size of human breast milk. Goat milk is 6 times the size, so it's easier to break down. So the likelihood is, unless you have a sensitivity to goat's milk, it is going to be easier to break down and to utilize. Michelle, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think that there's plenty of research about colostrum, and some people may do better on goats. But yeah, I think colostrum is worth a try. Yeah,
you bet. Tracy says, oh, castor oil pack sounds good for me. Amen, Tracy. I think it should be in everyone's medicine cabinet. It doesn't fit in a cabinet, but it should be in everyone's arsenal. Castor oil packs, especially for your kids, but for you also. Anytime there's any type of illness or even the hint of an illness, or if it's been a stressful day, castor oil packs are really quite marvelous. Marzi has a castor oil pack that she's using now that she just got as a gift. It's a cute little animal thing, but I mean, they're great. They're really great to use. Christine says, what about people who are on immunotherapy? Really good question. Michelle, do you want to start with that one?
Well, I think that is why we're all doing this where we're staying home, is out of respect for the people in this high-risk group, right? And I know that there's people that are complaining about it, and I just think that we should band together as the human race, and we need to stay home and protect them.
Right.
Because my parents are in the age group that it's high risk, and I love those kids in the other room right now, and I really want them to survive this. And I know that everyone watching right now has somebody that they love and want to survive this. And so the person, Christine, if you're on immunotherapy, or we're staying home for you, and everyone that's listening, do whatever you can to protect the people that are immune compromised or that in the high risk group.
Right, agreed. This is Marzi's little castor oil pack, hot pack. You use a hot water bottle, and this is a cute little thing that she's using now. So that I just thought it'd be that these kind of things are available for your kids. So they love the little thing that gives you hugs and so, but that's
adorable.
Isn't that sweet? Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Gabriella has a good question. She says, I was told that N-acetylcysteine is great for preventing mucus in the lungs. That's absolutely right, Gabriella. I'm sorry, I forgot to write that down at the last minute. But one of the things I would also be doing is N-acetylcysteine if I get sick, or even as a preventive. It's not first tier. Vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D with K2 are first tier. Second tier is NAC. Now, one more thing, if you get sick, and this is very helpful, is a nebulizer with glutathione. Now, for that, you need a healthcare practitioner to order the glutathione for you. But a nebulizer is just this thing you put over your mouth and you breathe with it, right? And they've used them before for people with asthma and things like that. But everyone can use a nebulizer with glutathione. There's no reason why not. And it's the most powerful way of getting more glutathione in your lungs, which helps to reduce the mucus, reduce the inflammation in your lungs. It's very helpful to enhance lung function. N-acetylcysteine is so good because it helps your body to build more glutathione. But one of the things, if I were sick and I don't have a nebulizer here, we just got here yesterday, Marzi and I, and we don't have a nebulizer right now, but that's one of the tools I have at home that we would always use, is a nebulizer with glutathione. Lee says, don't all grains cause inflammation? No. All grains will cause a little mucus formation. Inflammation is the response of your immune system trying to protect you from something. So if you don't have a sensitivity to quinoa or to amaranth, you won't produce more inflammation. You may produce some mucus, but you won't produce inflammation. Pooja, anything you want to add to that question?
I think that's spot on, and I think that we shouldn't forget that a lot of these ancient grains that you mentioned, like the quinoa, the amaranth, the millet, they all have their own nutritional properties that we would be missing if we didn't consume them, at least in small quantities. So,
right.
For those that can tolerate grains, I am a big advocate.
Great, thanks, I agree. Rodgin is here from the Philippines. Hello, Rodgin, thanks for joining, thank you. Genevieve says, can we give Wobenzyme N for our children? Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. They're tiny, they're not tiny, but they're very small little tablets. They're easy to swallow. Tracy said, I had a mild case of it and made it out. Will I be immune now? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Tracy. Do you mean, will I be immune protected? Yeah, the whole concept behind viruses is that if once your immune system, once you're exposed, your body builds up some resilience against it. So assuming that will be the case for you. Can't say for sure, but assuming that's the case. Elizabeth wrote, what was the name? And I'm sorry, Elizabeth, that's all that came through in your question is what was the name. So I don't know what you're referring to.
Elizabeth also wanted to know if the spray could be purchased in Europe. And I know Amrita Nutrition in the UK sells Biocide TS. The TS stands for throat spray. And there are a couple places in Europe that sell it.
Yep, this is it. This is the TS.
That's what you want.
Yeah, yes. Let's see, Tracy said, I don't get ill much either. Okay, Noreen says, can't see the label. Can you give us the name? That was Biocide TS, Biocide TS, that Michelle was just referring to. And the other one I showed was Oliverex. Those are the two that we were talking about that help support your immune system. And this is my go-to when I'm traveling. I use it every day when I get on flights. I've done that for a number of years. Let's see. Pamela says, can we do that to kids too? Yes. Yes, you can, Pamela. Jennifer says, wonderful, so thankful for you all. Thank you, Jennifer. That's really kind of you. Luann's here. Hi, Luann. She says, what are heart palpitations caused from? Stress, hypothyroid? Well, Luann, it's like most other things. There are many different triggers that can cause that. B vitamin deficiencies can cause that. Gluten sensitivity can just go gluten and heart palpitations, and you see the studies. Dairy sensitivity can cause that. Mineral imbalances can cause that. That requires a little investigation with a functional medicine practitioner to see where is this coming from. Lee Duram says, my mother, 83 years old, on chemo now for cancer. What can she take to help her immune system without counteracting the chemo? Doctor said not to take any extra antioxidants. So what can people take? It's a really good question. I don't want to go against anyone's oncologist. If it were me going through chemo right now, what would I do? I would try to protect my lungs, first off. What does that mean? I'd use a nebulizer. I'd use a nebulizer with glutathione, unless if the chemo is directed at lung cancer, I don't have an answer for you. I don't know. The person who would know about that is, oh, honey, what's her name? Who's the... What? Anna? Nalini, yes. What's Nalini's last name? Nalini, N-A-L-I-N-I. Michelle, do you remember Nalini's last name?
Starts with a K. Nalini.
You'll look her up. Yeah, thank you for looking her up. We'll give you that name in just a minute, Lee, for your mother. Dr. Nalini.
I'll find it in email.
Okay. Yeah, because it's on my phone, but I can't go to my phone. It's like a Russian name.
Chilkob. She's in Santa Monica.
Yep.
But I can post her website.
Great. We'll post the website here. She's great with supplemental care during cancer protocols. And she has a whole certification course for doctors on this. But she also does counsel patients one-on-one. So that's someone that you can count on, that this is a gal that's dialed that down and knows it really well. Lucy says, what if we currently have Wobenzyme Plus? Can we take it in place of the Wobenzyme N? And if so, how much would you recommend per day to help with mucus? Yes, Lucy, you can. The Wobenzyme family is designed to reduce inflammation and mucus. The whole family is. I just like the Wobenzyme N. N is a Nancy because it's the original. But any Wobenzyme will be helpful to use. Yes. Luann says, what vitamins should you take in the daytime versus nighttime? Well, you don't want to take anything that's going to stimulate you more in the evening so that you can't go to sleep. But I think I'm a little baffled by that one. I don't know of any that you can't take at nighttime. Everything we're talking about here, it's not really stimulatory unless, Pooja, is there anything, or Michelle, anything you can think of?
No, I think all the immune support supplements we suggested could be taken either in the morning, in the afternoon, or at night. Yep,
agreed. I agree. I think so too. So I don't have a concern about day or night. I may be missing something, but as far as I know, it's okay.
The only thing I would mention that you mentioned, but I would just want to reiterate, is Wobenzyme, if taken with food, is a really expensive digestive enzyme.
Exactly.
It really needs to be taken on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
To be the effective little Pac-Man.
Exactly.
Right. So take it away from food so that it can do its job.
Exactly. Carmen says colostrum will kickstart your immune system along with the theDr.com's gut packs. Absolutely right, Carmen. Both of those together work really well. Thanks for that. And we'll post the gut packs here, GS sensitivity packs. Chris says, thank you for all this great information to you all, and throws little hearts on a smiley. Thank you for that. Barbie asks, how about Epsom salt baths? Are they good? Absolutely. Especially for people, if you have any muscle twitching, and if you feel a little muscle in your leg or in your foot or your arm or the back of your arm going pow, 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 that usually, not always, but usually suggests you need more magnesium. And nothing gets more magnesium in your muscles quickly than Epsom salt baths. And for people who have a hard time falling asleep, Epsom salt baths work really well. Why? Because you get more magnesium when you do Epsom salt baths, and it just calms you down. As a matter of fact, a very common form of magnesium is called calm. It's in most stores, because you take magnesium, you just start to calm down. Here's the calm, right? Marzi said, make sure you bring some calm. When I came from the U.S. 2 days ago, I was lecturing in where was I? Denver. And Marzi said, bring some calm. So I just left the hotel, went to the local Whole Foods, got the calm to make sure that I had it. Elizabeth wrote, could you write that? NHC, I'm not sure. It's NAC, capital N dash acetyl, N-acetylcholine, NAC. Pamela says, having rheumatoid arthritis, am I at high risk? I do not take any meds for it. I try to do natural. Way to go, Pamela. And you want to reduce your inflammation every way you can. My suggestion is you work with Michelle or Pooja and get some consultations to make sure you're arresting the development of the autoimmune disease. If you haven't yet seen Betrayal, we'll post the link here, Betrayal, the autoimmune disease solution they're not telling you. You will see a number of rheumatoid patients there. They completely arrested, and they talk about how they did it. And it's free to watch Betrayal. It's at theDr.com, theDr.com /Betrayal. But you really want some coaching on how to do this from people that know what they're doing. Oh, a bunch of hearts are coming through as I talk about Betrayal. Thank you so much for that. That's really nice. As you guys know, I love seeing the little hearts. Elizabeth asked, what is the name of the mask, please? The mask? You mean this thing? Marzi's little thing? I don't know. She says there's no name. But see, if I open it up, it's the hot water bottle's inside here, right? So it's like a little doll thing, a little cute little thing, especially for kids. You put that on their tummy and they really like it. Look at all the hearts. Thank you for that. It is kind of cute. Rodgan says, right now I'm watching you from Philippines. You're a great doctor. Thank you for your advice to everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Rodgan. It's very kind of you to say. Let's see. Trace, okay. Carmen says, bone broth or goat whey protein along with N-acetylcysteine for the body for glutathione and to stimulate the body to make its own glutathione. Exactly right. When using bone broth, you want to make sure that you're getting organic bone broth because there's lots of toxins in most bone broth because they use bones from commercial cows that have lead and other things in them. And with N-acetylcysteine, bone broth is also excellent to help heal inflammation in the gut and help to build new cells to heal intestinal permeability. I talk about that a lot on stage. Chris says, keep our thoughts positive. Fear is not great at this time. Absolutely right, Chris. That's what Michelle started off with at the beginning of this one. Luann says, what vitamins should you take in the daytime? Okay, we did that one. Elizabeth asked, will you write the European sites, please? Michelle, I'll let you address that. If you've got a link for the European site, can you post it? And let's see. Lee says, thank you. Was rectal cancer that metastasized in lungs and liver? Few small spots. I'll try to find Nalini. Oh, good. Yeah, please do. This is for your mother, your 83-year-old mother, 85-year-old mother. Lucy asks, how many of the... Oh, I saw somebody walking outside, but it's Marzi walking out there. How many of the Wobenzyme should we take? 10 every waking hour for adults. If you're an adult, that's 125 to 150 pounds. If you weigh 200 pounds, take 12 to 15. If you weigh 50 pounds, take 5. But you want these, and they're very safe, but you want these Pac-Man just going through, getting after all the mucus that might be in your body. Luann says, where do you get Wobenzyme? And we're posting the link here. Jennifer says, can chronic low-level carbon monoxide poisoning compromise the immune system? Well, yes. It's a toxin that you're getting, so it activates an immune response, but carbon monoxide will also kill you. So if you've got chronic low-level exposure, get rid of the exposure. I mean, that sounds obvious, so there must be some reason why you can't get rid of the exposure, but yes, it will compromise your immune system. Paula says, thank you for the information. Sorry, guys. Let's see. You're welcome, Elizabeth. She says, thanks for your patience with my badly explained questions. You guys are doing great. That's all right. This is a whole new topic to be looking at, and you're doing great with it. All right, well, you know, we had problems when we started. Let's move in the direction of wrapping this up soon. So, you know, we're going over a little bit in our time. Michelle, any thoughts or suggestions of things that we've missed?
I just want to send love and health to each person. And if you don't know about PortMath, it is something that you can buy as an app, but it's something that you can do for free. And you can just go to the stopwatch on your phone, and you can do this with your kids. You can do it with your spouse. You can do it alone. And it's an inhale for 5 seconds, an exhale for 5 seconds. And this is research that's done to show that we should be breathing 6 breaths a minute. So 1 inhale, 1 exhale is a breath. Now, if you, after we're done with this Facebook Live, if you just count how many breaths you breathe a minute, you'll find that on average we're breathing 16 to 20 breaths a minute. So we're pretty much all hyper. During time of even higher stress than normal, if we could all just take 5 minutes once a day, even 1 minute. I'm all about what's realistic, right? So take 1 minute. If you can take 5 minutes, what they recommend is 5 minutes twice a day. So first thing in the morning, right before bed, and just inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. And if you have the app's going to say breathe in and out through your heart. It's going to tell you to smile. And what that is going to allow your body to do is to get into a state of coherence that's the equivalent of meditating. And it's going to change your biochemistry. And it's going to allow you to be in a state of calm. Because what happens is when you watch the news, and we see when they yell coronavirus, and pretty soon we're all going to have Tourette's and just be walking around involuntarily shouting coronavirus. But or your kids are stressing you out, or all this is happening, we don't naturally calm down our breathing. We have to practice that, right? So doing PortMath and practicing it twice a day, or once a day, or even for a minute here and there, is going to allow us, when we get in those heightened states of stress, to remember to calm down our breathing and to allow ourselves to get in that state of coherence and to be able to manage this time with love and compassion and joy, so that we're not the ones fighting over toilet paper in a store somewhere.
One of the reasons why Michelle is talking about this is that when you are in a more relaxed state, it's called a parasympathetic dominant state, your immune system's much more effective. It protects you much more. When you are keyed up and stressed and short breathing, I'm exaggerating, but or your pulse is high, or your blood pressure is high, your immune system can be compromised. So relaxing a little more, doing a few things to breathe. Now, my friend Dr. Pedram Shojai had this great concept. I tried it for a day, and it really made a difference. And that is, you set your alarm for an hour, that it rings every hour. And when the alarm goes off, no matter what you're doing, just pause for a moment and take 5 slow breaths, deep breaths. Whatever you're doing, you're driving, fine. Just be conscious of taking 5 deep breaths. And when you do that, it takes you 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, that's all. And you do it every waking hour. Notice how you feel as the day goes on. You feel different. So that's a great kind of technique. And Michelle's talking about PortMath app, which is great. You get a lot of feedback with that so that it can guide you even more. This concept of putting some attention on your breathing is a really good one to allow your immune system to be more effective in protecting you. Elizabeth's asking, Michelle, what was the name of the app?
So it's PortMath, and they have one for your phone. They also have one that's a device that you can purchase. But remember, right now when there's a lot of financial demand and people are stressed about money, that if you have the extra money to purchase it, great, because these fun toys can make it easier to do these things. But you don't have to invest in this. You can do this for free. Basically, everyone has a phone with a stopwatch.
Right.
So this is something that you can do as soon as we end this Facebook Live. Just go to the stopwatch and try it, and just notice the shift in how you feel. It's a really beautiful thing.
Right, agreed. Louise asked, would love to see what you say about zinc, how much to take daily. Pooja, do you want to start with that one? What kind of zinc dosages do you recommend?
I tend to go close to 25 milligrams. Mm-hmm. It does depend on sometimes the salt form, like zinc. The zinc picolinate, I believe, is like the most common one. So that one I'll tend to suggest close to 25.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with that. I'm somewhere between 25 and 50 milligrams. It depends on your body weight. You don't want to take zinc long term if you don't need it. And the only way you know is by running some tests, but you can't do the test right now. So 25 to 50 milligrams is safe to take a day right now. It's very safe. Shouldn't be a problem for anybody. You don't want to go into higher dosages than that. Michelle, anything you want to add to that?
Take it with food, otherwise it could make you feel nauseous.
Exactly.
Take it with food.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for today. Let me just remind you once again, if someone in the family gets sick, you want to be cautious. It's the droplets in the air from sneezing or coughing that pass this virus along. So if someone's sneezing, please teach the kids, have them have paper towels or Kleenex in their pockets. They always either sneeze into their arm like this, or sneeze into the paper towel, or sneeze into Kleenex. And then wash your hands after you sneeze. Because they're going around the house, they're touching the TV controls, or they're getting the faucet, they're turning the faucet to turn water on and all that, whatever it should be. But every time somebody sneezes, wash their hands. Make sure to do that just to minimize the amount of droplets that are being projected around the house. And if I get sick, what I'm doing, ½ ounce of water per pound body weight, vitamin D, 50,000 units a day, every day for at least a week. Vitamin C, 1 scoop of the Vitality C every waking hour. If you have the vitamin C bioflavonoids, 1 capsule every waking hour until you get loose bowels. And you count how much dosage you did, and the next day you do 75% of that dosage. Stay at that level until you get loose bowels. Might be 2 days, 3 days at that level. Then the next day, 75% of that dosage, and you stay there until you get loose bowels. When you don't get loose bowels, that's the dose that your body wants every day, right? And you do that over a few weeks, and you enhance your immune system function with that. Enema, or a colonic if possible, if not an enema. Castor oil pack. Wobenzym N as in Nancy, as the preferred, my preferred form, but any wobenzymes work well. And avoid mucus-forming foods. Michelle, first Michelle, then Pooja, anything else you want to add to that if somebody gets sick?
Just keep that positive mindset, lots of love to all the family members. Take good care of each other.
Yeah.
And thanks for being here with us. We consider you all family.
Amen to that. Pooja?
Lots and lots of rest. Just enjoy this period where we are glued to our house and our home and our bed. Right. And get lots of rest.
Okay, everyone, with that, lots of love to everybody, and we will see you again next week. Thanks so very much. Bye-bye. Okay, now I have to turn it off today.